This Strat's been hanging on my wall unassembled for the last several years. Today, I'm bringing it back to life. Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to my studio. If you've spent any time on my channel, then you've probably figured out that I'm a Strat guy. I love all types of electric guitars, but there's just something about a Fender Strat that feels like home. I've owned quite a few Strats over the years, and they've all been fantastic guitars. Other than my 3 custom Strats, every Strat that I've ever owned has been one of the less expensive made in Mexico Strats, including this one. I bought this guitar sometime in the summer of 2005, and back then I was playing a lot, roughly 320 gigs a year outside in the heat and humidity, and I don't know, I guess I play hard because after just a year or two, some of the frets were worn down near the wood. It needed a refret, and I let a guy talk me into jumbo-size frets. I realized pretty quick, I don't care for jumbo-size frets on a Strat. So while it still got used a lot, after a while it kind of fell by the wayside and hasn't been played in years. Over that time, I ended up cannibalizing it for parts for other guitars, and it just wasn't usable. Now, I'm going to change that. When making my tone shop amp captures, I want to capture as wide a range of tones as I can for all kinds of different guitars and pickup types. And it occurred to me, something I don't have in my arsenal is a Strat with single coil pickups. Now, when I think of the Fender Stratocaster, I think of players like Stevie Ray Vaughan. His tone was unmistakable. Yngwie Malmsteen as well. Mark Knopfler, David Gilmour, heck, Jimi Hendrix. Now, they all had a tone that was unmistakably their own, but they all shared that Strat thing. Snarling, sweet, snotty, rootsy, beautiful. So for this guitar, the goal is simple. I want it to sound like a Strat. Now, after a bit of research, I saw these pickups mentioned pretty much everywhere I looked for that authentic old school Strat sound. The Antiquity 2 Surfer Strat set from Seymour Duncan. Now, ordinarily, the Antiquity series pickups from Seymour Duncan are aged. They're relic, made to look like they came out of an old guitar. Now, I don't want to put some old grimy Fred G. Sanford looking mess in here, so I went with the retro spec set, which I guess means they're spec'd like the older pickups, but they're not pigpen to perfection. Anyhow, I'll go into more detail once I install the pickups and get a chance to dive into them. I can sit here and read you specs all day, but that doesn't really tell you anything. Okay, so let's head over to the bench and get it wired up. Okay, so I've tested everything. It works great. It's the Seymour Duncan Antiquity 2 Surfer set. I also gave the guitar a little bit of a setup because the saddles are brand new to this guitar. I'm still fooling around with the string height, so the intonation is probably off a little bit. But let's give this thing a listen. Now, I want to start with a clean guitar sound, so right now I'm plugged into my MESA Boogie Mark 7 on the Fat channel. I'm running through 2 412 cabinets, each one loaded with Celestion Vintage 30s. Now, all the amps you hear today are running through my 2 Notes Reload 2 to kind of keep the volume levels down a little bit so my neighbors don't kill me. And any effects you hear are from my Fractal VP4, which is running into the effects loop of the Reload 2. Now let's hear it with some compression. I'm going to kick on an old classic, the MXR Dynacomp. There's nothing like the sound of a Strat through a Marshall, so I want to hear this with my vintage modern. That. Now this whole single coil thing is pretty new to me. I've always used either stacked humbuckers or full-size
humbucker.
So this is definitely a new flavor for me and I'm loving it. Okay, I want to hear this driven a little harder, so I'm going to kick on my Klone. It's a warm audio Centavo and it's been modified by Analog Man, I guess to be more like the original. Let's hear this with a tube screamer. The level's all the way up, the drive is all the way down. Okay, now something I haven't heard very often is a Strat with single coil pickups through a heavy sounding amp. So I want to hear this through the MESA Boogie Badlander. Now, I gotta admit, I'm a bit surprised. I never expected I'd be able to get so much power out of a set of single coil pickups. I mean, yeah, I've heard other people do it, but every time I've played through them, they've sounded weak and wimpy. But this Antiquity 2 surfer set from Seymour Duncan, they sound great. And I can dial in all kinds of sounds with them. Now, I don't think the single coil will ever replace a humbucker in a bridge for me, but it's good to finally have a guitar with some great sound in single coils because I need that sound sometimes. And this is going to allow me to dial in an even more diverse array of sounds for my Tone Shop amp captures. So, do you like single coil pickups or are you a humbucker guy like me? Let me know down below in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.